BNP TV.
Well, we're here at the very heart of the Battlefield of Waterloo. We're actually standing on a massive monument built here after the battle. It's called the Le Butte de Lion, the lion's butt, as in big mound, and it was built here in commemoration of the fact that William, Prince of Orange, who commanded part of the Allied army under Wellington, was wounded on this spot during the battle. It's got an immense panoramic view over the battlefield. The Allied lines ran right through this place with a mixture of British, Dutch and German soldiers all the way along here, right from well down there past the point at the crossroads over here was where Wellington himself was based throughout the battle. There was a giant oak tree there at the time, now commemorated by a large monument. He was there, commanded everything from there. He picked the battlefield brilliantly. Advancing from the south as Napoleon was, you cannot see that there's really quite a dip in the field here. This monument was built with vast amounts of earth taken off the ridge, so it's actually rather flattened the battlefield, which forced Napoleon's troops to advance in the final stages up this slope, giving the defenders an advantage. Also, during the height of the bombardment by the French artillery, which was based on the ridge well over there, the bulk of the Allied troops were able to shelter behind the ridge and avoid the worst of the carnage. The battle obviously is history now, but very briefly the French were trying all day to take the three outposts. One of them, La Haye-Sainte, is down here, Papelotte is further over, and Hougoumont, which was a small chateau, on the other side. The French took Papelotte, they took La Haye-Sainte right near the end of the battle, they never took Hougoumont. They reached the lines here at the very end of the day when Napoleon unleashed the Imperial Guard to try to break the Allied lines. They failed. They took La Haye-Sainte, as I said, near the end. Even with that, which Napoleon had thought would give him the battle, as they reached the Allied lines, from the British infantry in particular, they were met by volley after volley after volley of musketry, and the Guard, almost never beaten, faltered and then retreated. At the same time, Blucher with the Prussians were arriving well over to Napoleon's right, and they rolled up the French lines. The combination of being battered by the Allies here and hit in the flank by the Prussians, they simply fell away, and that was the end of Napoleon. That was the end of the French revolutionary attempt to conquer Europe. Now, we're 200 years on. The leftist ideals of the French Revolution, liberty, eternity, equality, perhaps in some ways good ideals at heart, but twisted into a monstrous form by the left, the ultra-left, over generations. That is still at the heart of the European Union. Napoleon's idea of creating a European empire under one leader, that's still at the heart of the European Union. There were 300,000 men from 7 nations of Europe fought on this battlefield in 1815. Roughly speaking, half for European tyranny, half against it. The ones standing for freedom, standing for the rights of nations, won that battle. The battle is still going on today, about 15 miles north of here, up in the European Parliament. The British National Party is doing its bit, fighting and working today with allies from all over Europe, nationalists, good people, just like us, who cannot abide the thought of the hundreds, thousands of years of history of their nations being wiped out to become mere pawns on the board of a federal European superstate. In 1815, the battle was against Napoleon's tyranny, an earlier attempt to impose on the free nations of Europe a united Europe under one kind of leadership. They're doing it again. 15 miles up the road here in Brussels, the same fight is being fought out between the British National Party and our allies from the other nationalists of Europe, fighting a desperate battle against the Eurocrats seeking to impose the ideals of the leftist French Revolution and the dictatorship of a Napoleon or a Kaiser or a Hitler on the free nations of Europe once again. The battle is reaching really a climax. There's a tidal wave of legislation, rules and regulations coming our way. It's not just there to interfere with our lives. It's not just there to tax us, although it's doing that enough. It's also there to forcibly bind the nations of Europe together so we can never again break free. We've got to fight or beat this in our generation, or it'll be too late. The next step in our battle in Britain is, of course, the forthcoming general election. We're now in with a really serious chance of taking several seats in that, and no nationalist party could ever have said that before in Britain. It's a tremendous opportunity, but we won't win that election if we leave the campaign, if we leave the fundraising and the big push until the last 6 or 7 weeks. We're launching a really full-on campaign in our target seats now, well before Christmas, to get the momentum going, to show that in those seats it is either us or the Labour Party, and no one else is in with a look in, no one else is in with even a shout. So to do that, we've got to be able to push a large amount of money and manpower into those target seats right now. We know what we need to do, but you out there, you're the only people who can give us the tools for the job. In 1815, the tools for fighting tyranny were cannons and muskets and bayonets and people's blood. Now it's different. The tool for fighting the tyranny today, the tool for fighting elections, is money and money and money and activism. And if you can be active, that's fine. Come along, give us your help. Canvassing, knocking on doors. If for whatever reason you're not able to do that, then please join all those people giving us the funds that we need to fight this battle and win it.